Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, I'm super excited for this one because it's one that's taken the best part of 3 years to get to the top of the list. Yes, we're actually going to be doing something that we used to do quite a lot on the show, restoring a vintage Tamiya. Yeah, shock horror, right? And it's this, the 2001 Avante, my favourite Avante from the whole collection. I absolutely love this one, the look of it. Also, it's probably the hardest one to restore. Some of the parts on this car are really difficult to get hold of. So what are we doing in this episode? Well, I managed to pick up quite a few years ago a full body set, decals, full body and everything. And we've also got the optional wing, racing wing as well, which again, not the easiest thing to find. And we have the paints. So in this video, what we're going to do, I'm going to clean up the chassis a little bit as it's getting a bit dusty. Doesn't need a rebuild, just needs a good clean really. And then we're going to cut out and paint up a vintage body for it. Right, so before we crack on, and I'm stalling because I really want this to go well, because if I stuff up any of these, they're really expensive parts. I can't replace them. Breathe, Gav, just breathe. Anyway, what makes this so difficult to restore versus all the others? Well, the Avante 2001 had some optional parts that were on it that were on no other Avantes or any other cars. So you can imagine this came out a long time ago, so finding those parts is really difficult. And even if you can find them, what you're going to pay for them is going to make your eyes water. The biggest one is the white rims. These camlock rims were only on this car, so impossible to get. I actually bought a 2001 Avante 3 years ago just to get those rims, and then I sold it on with some fake ones. Now you can buy 3D printed fake ones obviously, but if you want original ones, yeah, good luck with that. Also, another thing that's really quirky but is only unique to this car is the driver. But you would think the driver cockpit is the same as all the other Avantes. No, it's got these weird tabs on the side. They changed for this car only, and it bolts to the top of the polycarbonate body. So really difficult to get hold of these as well. Got to be a bit careful because people are 3D printing these. Obviously the driver head is no different. That's easy. It's the actual cockpit part, but people 3D print them. That's fine, but if they try and sell them as originals and original prices, just be a bit careful. That was a thing for a while ago. I don't know if that still happens, but it did for a while. So getting the driver is also really difficult. Tires are not so much of a problem. They're pretty standard, so they're easy to get hold of. Decals, yeah, good luck trying to find a good set of decals. Now you can get MTI decals to replace it, and they're pretty good, to be honest with you. I think I have a set. I should dig it out and we can compare. But obviously trying to keep a car totally original is really tricky these days. As for the body, well, the body is not the same as all the others. It has this section that kicks back, so it's not the same as what you see on the normal Avante, 2011 Avante or the 88 Avante. The body is different, so getting one of those is really, really difficult unless you go the Team Blue Groove way. Also, as the 2001 is my favorite, I'm going to push the boat out even more, and I'm going to fit this rare optional wing that comes with some extra decals on the back as well. Yeah, even this is hard to come by these days unless you want to throw stupid money at it. Now this was an optional wing that Tamiya did, and you could put it on the Egress, the Astute, the Madcap, the Avante, Vanquish or the Terra Scorcher. But as the 2001 is my favorite out of all of those, that's what I've decided to finally pull the trigger and put this on this car. Now I do plan on doing something a little bit off box art, but you know me, I like my box art, and being that this is all original would be kind of crazy to do it in different colour. So I am doing it in the PS16, which is the metallic blue. Then I'm going to back it in white just to make it pop. Then I'm going to back it in PS12 silver. Then I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to back it in PS13 gold. Now the idea is, from the outside, it all looks exactly stock as it should do, but then when you turn it and you look inside and you look on the back of the wing, there's a bit of gold just to make it a bit different. So that's the plan. Right, I think I've stalled long enough. The first thing we've got to do is cut out that body. Wish me luck. Now I don't know if it's showing up in the camera, but when you have a vintage polycarbonate body from Tamiya, it always has a little bit of a brown tint to it. Also super thin compared to the kind of modern stuff that we see today. Now the 2001 Avante had a wheelbase of 275mm. This is much longer than the standard Avante, which is 260mm. So that's why the 2001 has that stretched look about it. Now for the sake of time, I'm going to do two different things at once. While the actual paint's drying on the body, I'm going to try and give the chassis a bit of a clean. Now I'll get the old toothbrush out, put a little bit of oil on it, really good at getting in and removing all the dirt. Also I've taken the electronics out of it, give the chassis a bit of a clean, as well as buff up the tyres as they're looking a bit dry. Now before we start painting up the under tray, I just wanted to do a test fit to make sure it clears everything. There's 2 pins at the front and then 1 at the back. It went on fine. I had to adjust the front bulkhead a little bit to get clearance. Then we give it a good clean, as obviously being a vintage body, this has got fingerprints and oil all over it. Chassis started to come out, looked really good actually. I was surprised how just spending half an hour giving it a bit of a clean really brought it up a little bit. So no window masks, so you have to make your own. Not that difficult if you use the Tamiya edging tape and then just mask around it after that. So there you go, after a tense hour or so, yep, I've cut out all the body, it's all done, ready to go. I've given it a wash and I've fitted the masking for the window. So all I've got to do now is give it a little bit of a rub down because I've got finger marks on it again. The under tray is all cut out, the rear wing is all cut out. Also, while it was drying, I've given the car a bit of a spruce up. Really easy to do. I put the old trick of putting some oil on the tyres as they were drying out a little bit, and I gave it a good clean with a toothbrush and got all the dust off. The car itself was in good condition. It's just been sitting for so long, dust starts to build up and it looks a bit tatty. I fitted a battery to it. I've taken out the old ESC. I have got something a little bit special that hopefully I can dig out that's going to go in this as well. So you just have to wait and see on that one. Right, wish me luck. Let's hope that the weather holds off long enough that I can actually paint this today. So this is the first dusting of the metallic blue, my favourite PS colour. Just before I did this though, I did a flat clear around the cockpit to make sure I get no bleed through. I decided to do the driver cockpit head as well. This is about 3 layers in and I've got no bleeding around the cockpit, so super chuffed with that. I'm rushing before it's going to get dark. Put a few more layers in, then I backed it in white because I'm going to put gold down, so I wanted to protect the blue. I didn't want to put the gold down and hopefully it would show through, so I put white down first, then a few layers of gold. Now it got a bit dark, so it took me a little bit longer, but it came out okay. Really happy with it. The gold took more layers than I expected, but I like the idea that when you look at it, it will look stock, but then when you flip it around a little bit, you just get that little pop of colour from underneath. I've never done it before, so I thought, hey, give it a go. So another day and another step forward. I let the paint dry overnight before we're going to put the decals on. Pretty happy with how it turned out. I ended up managing to be able to paint in the evening, but it got dark, so some of the last couple of layers were done in the dark, but I tried to be as close as I could be, where I came inside, looked at it, went back outside. So it took longer, but I managed to get it done. Also, the temperature was going down, so... But anyway, it all came out all right in the end. So I've got the blue, obviously my favourite blue PS. So another day and another step forward. I painted everything. Luckily, everything turned out really well. Super happy with it. Wasn't the ideal painting situation. I had a small slot in the afternoon where it stopped raining and the wind was dying down. But in the UK at the moment, it gets dark really early. So my window was small, but I managed to get the main layers done while it was still light. Then when it was dark, I was still painting again, but I was doing the inside layers, so it wasn't so bad. So I was going in and out, checking what I'd done, then going and fixing anything I'd missed. It just takes longer. The temperature was going down as well, but because I was just jumping out, painting and jumping back in again, I kind of got away with it. Not ideal by a long shot, but I think I pulled this one off. So the difference is what I've done it in the standard body. Now the idea is I want to keep the car looking stock, but we're going to zing it up a little bit, and I've done all the insides in gold. So you've got this accent colour, so really happy with it. The blue and the gold goes together beautifully, so really happy with it. Also done the same with the body tray. and the wing are all done. So really happy with that. So now we move on to doing the decals. One thing that is a real pain when you're working on a vintage bodies is there's no clear protective film on them. So luckily my Tamiya body cleaner, polycarbonate body cleaner, arrived just in time so that I could go back and remove any overspray, as you always get overspray, and the old ones just don't have that film, so it's a bit of a faff, but everything's okay. Right, let's fit the decals and get this one done. Now, a lot of people complain that the Avante decals for the 2001 are very tricky. The only two that really jump out at you are the actual Avante names that go down the sides. Because of all the curves on the body, these are quite large decals. While the paint was drying, I decided to cut them out. Now, I had a bit of a dilemma whether to use the actual stickers from the optional wing or whether I was going to use the original ones. As the 2001 decal is very iconic for this car, I decided to move the optional decal to the underside, which kind of works with the gold. Now, one thing that surprised me was the red slashes that you see here. The bottom ones, they fit really well, but the top ones don't line up with the actual curve for that fake intake. I was really surprised. It makes them look like they're not sitting straight, but they're both like that, so they don't actually follow the body line at all. Now, I think you can agree it's classic Tamiya and I really like it. It's very long wheelbase for the body, so it looks very stretched out, but that's how they designed it. So if you're looking to get a 2001 for your collection, the hardest thing I think you're going to find is to get one that's complete with the correct driver, the correct wheels, motor. Doing the body set, that's not that difficult really. Why we haven't seen Tamiya re-release the 2001 Avante, that I honestly don't know. Will we see it in the future? Well, I definitely hope so, as I know a lot of you would really like to get your hands on one. And that's another one ticked off the list. Yeah, this one has been sitting waiting for ages, so I'm really chuffed to finally get it sorted. Now, one of the things that everyone comments on, and it's deadly true, the Avante stickers that go on both sides, yeah, whoever came up with that idea, you cannot get them perfect. It doesn't matter how much you try. One little tip that I found to try and help them a little bit is when you apply the decal along the bottom, then get your scalpel and put a few little slices in the black sections, and then that lets you fold them over a bit better. But you will always get a crease at the knuckle here, and the same on the other side. You've got too many curves all converging in the same spot, so yeah, not easy at all. But I'm reasonably happy. If you use the hairdryer, you can push out a few of the wrinkles, but because they're right on the cusp, they're just really difficult to get. But apart from that, really happy with it. Fitting the optional spoiler, yeah, chuffed. Did a few little changes, as I like the 2001, so I didn't want to use the one that actually is in the optional wing, so I put that on the back. And then I took one of the stickers and put it along here, so it's slightly different. Also, the numbers, I put them on number 1, which is what the actual car is. Unfortunately, which would have been really nice, would be the number 1 that's on the front here is the right size to use here. But the ones that you get on the sheet for here are too big. So that's a bit of a shame. I had some extra stickers, some reproduction ones floating around in my parts bin, so I've actually done something a little bit different and put that on the bottom. Is that up the right way? No, hold on. I put those on the bottom just to make it a little bit more interesting. And then obviously all the inside is in gold as well. So just to lift it a little bit and make it a little bit different, but I didn't really want to go crazy with it. I just wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to it, and I'm really happy, and it will go into the collection with my 88, and that is totally original, and so is this. Thanks very much. See you on the next one. Bye bye.